Bienvenido, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Go onto that webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. We got a lot of great stuff there, so come check us out there. And send in those questions and suggestions, ffnquestions@gmail.com. But enough with the intro, Andy. Let's get into this. My name is Daniel. As I alluded, I got Andy here with me today.
It's all good. It's Andy's here, and let's get this going.
Heck yeah, man. Let's get this thing going. It's Sunday. At the time of this recording, the weather's nice, man. It's a great day to go out there and just hang out and do something, man. But we're going to drop this pod really quick and get into it. Andy, tell me, this is the time of the season for high school graduations. I see you attended one. How was it? Was it packed to the brim? Was it COVID restricted? Seats open? Tell us about it, man.
Yeah, so it's graduation season, and we went to family members' high school graduation. Um, and it was out here where I live. They do it at the Sears Center, formerly Sears Center. Now it's called the Now Arena.
Whoa.
And the whole lower deck was kind of filled. And it was pretty cool. The setting, it was a lot of people.
So the Sears Center is a pretty big spot. So was it just that school?
Yeah, it was just the one high school.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because with being such a big venue, I didn't know if they like combined like a West and East school or anything like that.
No, it was just the one school out here. It was a pretty large high school. I mean, when we graduated, we did it at our high school arena, and I think a year or two later, they moved it to the Rosemont Theater, which is a large venue by Chicagoland.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was. It's been many years. I think 20 plus years since I attended a high school graduation. I've been to a couple of college graduations, but it's just so different now. I was like, you get there and you start thinking about when we graduated and I graduated, and then just the way, like, I was telling my wife, like, yeah, it's such an interesting age because you're entering adulthood, and at that age you got your whole life in front of you, and then you got these grand plans or you don't, and it's just like anything is possible, right? People are going off to college, people are joining the military, people are getting jobs or whatever, and you're like, I got my whole life in front of me. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And then you start, as us, you see people, how many of these kids are gonna make to do what they want to do, like lawyers, veterinarians, engineers, and
garbage
all that
man,
shit.
McDonald's,
Yeah, nobody's picking up a garbage man. Yeah, and then
yeah.
that's when I'm just like, I'm being an asshole. Like, how many of these kids are gonna fuck up their life? They go to college, it's too hard. I'm gonna go to junior college, or I'm gonna take a year off, or it's a lot harder than it's gonna be, and then gonna hack it. And that's when you're like, your plan gets derailed, and you have to do some adjustments, and a lot of people don't react to that.
Damn, man, they kind of shitting on junior colleges, man. To me, anything's better than nothing. So, hey, man,
I mean, I'll
if
tell
you
you
go out there
this,
and do it, it's good.
it was pretty. I was shocked. So they have this program out here where they allow some of the kids to take. I mean, I took some college courses, a college course in high school, but here, there was like 20 students that got their associate's degree while in high school.
Wow.
Like, I found that amazing. I'm like, what? They select a handful of students and they let them take college courses for junior college or whatever, and half of them, a big chunk of them, got an associate's from the local community college. And I was like, damn, like that kind of impressed me. I think that's something that should be like a bigger deal, because they're already like they hit the ground running. And think about it, if you
Right.
got an associate's, you're already 2 years into college technically, right? And then you could get a bachelor's. And I was just like, that was kind of like pretty cool, I thought. But I was like, I didn't know that they had that type of program out here. But the other
Yeah.
thing, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention that at our high school, they did have college elect classes that would get you credits, but
Yes.
I don't remember anybody being that advanced that came out with their associates in our class.
No, I don't know if that's new, but it was pretty cool. I thought, yeah, like we took some. There was some college course that you could get credit that transferred to a lot of this college credits, but that was kind of cool. I thought, but when we were when sounding like an old man, but everybody had the gown, the cap, and like you had the smart kids, the cum laude and the valedictorian, and they gave their speeches. Um, today, and then all the kids today, fucking, they all put some crap on their hat, and they all had these sashes. Like you could buy a sash. Like some kids had American Mexican flag. Some kids had like Mexican, like Mexicano, like blanket looking fucking things, which was kind of cool. Some of them had like La Virgen. Some of them had apostles. Some of them had Saint.
Like airbrush
No,
stuff,
it
or
was purchased like class of 2022. And I'm like telling my wife, I think that's Saint Jude on there on that kid's sash. Like he's the saint that performed miracles. I'm like, is it? He's saying that it was a miracle that he graduated from high school. Like, it was just. I was just being bitter old man, but to me, it was just strange to me. Like,
that does seem kind of weird. I mean, I'm not trying to be a prude or anything, but to me, there's some sanctity to graduation. You shouldn't just start coming out with like airbrush looking
it wasn't
stuff.
airbrush. It
Well,
was
I know
like
I'm just giving like a thought of it shouldn't
Benny's really
be.
dating himself with that airbrush shit.
I'll just say that you shouldn't have a NASCAR style with stickers and have like a Ovaltine, whatever advertisings on top of your gown. To me, your gown is
Like you
you
want like
know
Rocky that Shamrock meats
right, right.
logo. Yeah, it was just. I think I was just being an old man, and I'm like, I was telling my wife like, yes, it's cool. They're being individuals, but I think graduation, like the only one that should wear sashes is the ones that accomplish something. And
Right.
it was just very strange, and it like not irked me, but I'm just like I just to me I just brought to my attention, and maybe one day I'll ask these kids like, why'd you somebody or maybe you see like someone that's younger, like when your nephews graduated. I think one recently in the last year, did he have a sash or anything? Do you recall, or did you go? Like to me, it was just strange.
Yeah, that does seem kind of weird to me that stuff like that be accepted. Now, I know the NFL just recently in the last year or two, they started having where you could put like sayings on the back of your helmet. And I know that trend is still going, but you see less and less players doing it. A lot of them have gone back to the traditional where it just says the team name or the NFL logo or the team logo. But yeah, man, to me it's like I get the wanting to give everybody a voice and everybody like a platform, but to me that's just not the place for it. I don't want to watch football to get preached on to whatever your cause is. I don't want to go to a graduation and see. I go to celebrate the events and to celebrate that you graduated from school, you accomplished something. I don't know how deep these messages got. Now, granted, if it's innocent, kind of stuff, then it doesn't bother me that much. Where I'm like, I'm out of here. Get your shit. We're getting out of here. We can't have it because this guy's got St. Jude on his whatever sash. But to me, it's just like not a place for like self-representation of yourself. It's a class it altogether kind of thing.
Yeah, like I said, then it really caught my eye, and I was just like, the hell is this? Like, and then the other thing, I just texted you a picture so you could get the idea what I'm talking about. And then the thing with the hat on the, they put logos and or sayings on the graduation hat, and to me, it's just like I don't really get that either. Because I don't know. Like I said, I'm just an old man. I didn't understand it, but I understand that they do it, and it's cool for them. And then some guys put like it's all sorts of different stuff, and I guess they're just trying to be individuals. And it was pretty cool. And the other thing that caught my eye was the usual, um, the usual thing of um, they had the speakers, the two smart kids, and it was interesting how everybody that was up on the stage, like always, it's just so fucking weird. I don't want to politicize it, but they're preaching diversity and all this shit. Yet everybody on the stage looked like the same color, even though the graduating class is like different. And to me, I'm like, here we go, another person pushing this, but yet it's like it's just different, you know. And to me, it's like, why? Like, I hate. Not that I hate it. It's just like I don't understand it. And one of the speakers did have like some weird, like we'll get a little bit into it in the article, but like some wokeness vibes, uh, and they brought the pandemic up a lot too in the speeches from everybody, the administrators down to the students, and about how they all hated remote learning and the hybrid and all this other stuff. So, and like I said, overall, it was an experience for me. And like I said, I haven't been to a high school graduation in a long time, and it was a definitely a different experience from what I remember when we graduated.
Now, Andy, being out in the far suburbs, close to Ohio over there, how was the graduation when they were announcing the names? Did everybody stay quiet until all the names were read,
Nah,
just the way
so
they
a lot of
asked,
it like
or was
were
it like as soon as they heard that name, you just hear all that cheering and whistling?
yeah, there was people going bananas like always, and which is cool, I guess. The families giving support to the graduate, but um, yeah, it was pretty cool. I did one thing that did amaze me about the school. They were announcing students that got big scholarships. They put a thing on the board that they had over $5 million in scholarships,
Wow.
and a lot of them were going to like big time schools, which was pretty fucking cool, I thought. And good for them, man. I hope a lot of the graduates succeed in what they want to do in life, because to me, it's like the first stage into becoming an adult. And then you got that like I said, the whole life in front of you. You got basically your 20s to figure shit out before you really have to uh, you have to figure out what the fuck you're gonna do. And hopefully everybody gets what they want to do. But like you said, nobody's thinking of being like we say, a ditch digger, garbage man, a welder.
I thought
Uh,
there's anything wrong with all those
no,
things.
absolutely not. But nobody thinks of that, even though this country needs a lot of those things. Nobody's thinking about doing. They all want to be fucking like all this
Record
craziness.
producer and NBA star and
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot, I saw a lot of engineering schools up there. So like, yeah, that's what we need, more electrical engineers in this world.
for sure.
But yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much what I got. And the other thing, I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday. That the day of the recording, the White Sox and the Yankees were playing, and they had um a brawl, not a brawl. They had a benches clearing event, but no punches, no ejections were thrown. And then the after the games, uh, it came out that Tim Anderson, he was told they disrespected him by a name call. And then this morning I was reading that the name calling was by the third baseman at the Yankees. He called Jackie and Josh Donaldson, and now everybody's like everybody on Twitter is like Josh Donaldson made a racist comment to Tim Anderson, and that's what everybody in the Twitter world is talking. And LaRussa said it's racist, and now it's gonna get. I'm interested to see what MLB is gonna do, and it's just interesting. I don't know how I feel about this one. I think it is. There's some implied racism, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, do you think there's a? I haven't even seen this until we started recording and you brought it up kind of briefly. I hadn't even heard about it. I don't got cable, so I can't watch these games live. Usually I hear about it like the day after. And I didn't hear anything about it, but is there any chance that this guy didn't know his name, Tim Anderson, and thought his name was Jackie?
No, he's the way Donaldson said this morning that, or not this morning. What I saw a video. He said that Tim Anderson gave an interview, and he says he's this generation's Jackie Robinson. He
Okay.
broke the color barrier, and he's gonna put fun back in baseball. And Jackie Robinson was an African American, and Tim Anderson's African American, and Josh Donaldson he's white. And he goes, he said, Donaldson admitted that he called Anderson Jackie during the first inning in a reference to a 2019 interview with Sports Illustrated, where Anderson described himself as feeling like today's Jackie Robinson. Donaldson
Well,
apologized for the comment and said he meant no disrespect. Anderson, who was black, said he took offense to that comment.
well, now with that context, Andy, I find it even less racist. I was just kind of goofing with that. He didn't know his name was Jackie, because obviously, who doesn't know that his name is Tim Anderson? Even though the White Sox do have a lot of new players and some young players coming up, but Tim Anderson is a pretty established player by now that most players know him.
He's the
But
face
now,
of the White Sox next to Abreu. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, in a lot of ways, for sure. But now with this context that he claimed himself to be like the next Jackie Robinson, I think this is totally fine. I mean, if I kind of bust your balls sometimes, Andy, because you're like the self-proclaimed expert. So when you put yourself with the label, some people will poke fun at it, and kind of jab it back at you. So if you call yourself Jackie, I'm the next Jackie Robinson or whatever, then if I get you on stealing the base, I'll be like, hey, good job, Jackie. Hey, good one stealing there. I'm going to jab it back to you. So if that's the contents of what was happening while he was on base, then I kind of see it as innocent jabbing. It's not like, it's not like he was just like, hey, man, like that. It wasn't like a race, or at least I don't know. Like I said, I didn't see this thing, so who knows how it was and what was the content. But from your description, it doesn't sound like it's a racist overtone. It just sounds like this guy's like, hey, I'm the next Babe Ruth. And so when he came onto base or he struck out, be like, hey, good job, Ruth. It'd be something like that, I would see.
I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know much about Donaldson. I know Tim Anderson. He can rub people the wrong way. I'm just glad he's with the White Sox. So, because even I'm like an old baseball purist, and like when he does the bat flips, he throws them, and when he does all that hand shit when he's running around the base or he's looking at first base, I'm like, not that I cringe, I'm just like, and then, like, in the old days they used to hit you with the ball, they throw it, yeah, and today they don't do that. But to me, like, stop them, I guess, from hitting the home runs. But yeah, man, it's I know the game's changed a lot. I'm just like, I wouldn't do it. I know that, and hopefully,
Yeah,
like it's gonna keep going, and we'll see where this goes.
no,
But I think Donaldson, I think he's gonna get in trouble, and I think he's wrong. But we'll see. What I want to see interesting how MLB handles this. So with that being said, Danny, I see you've been watching a lot of Netflix documentaries. I think I see here Netflix Meltdown TMI. Are we? Is it a documentary about the Hooters wing sauce or something with a nuclear plant? Not to make light of the situation, but that's all I see. 3 Mile Island, which can be, they could be a disaster in the bathroom later in the day.
for sure, man, for sure. I didn't care for 3 Mile and Hooter sauce. To me, I think that's just too hot. And once you get sauce that's that hot, it numbs the taste of what even you're eating. So, but
The
no, the
combination of beers and 3 Mile Island wing sauce, it's a disaster, especially when you're older. When you're younger, your stomach, your bowels can handle anything, but you're older now. You're just thinking about it like it'd be murder.
right. But no. What I had written down here was about the Netflix documentary Meltdown 3 Mile Island. Now, 3 Mile Island happened shortly after I was born, 1979, and yeah, it was one of the worst like nuclear accidents here on our U.S. soil. So it was definitely something alarming, especially with the boom of the nuclear industry. Those nuclear plants kind of, sprouting up everywhere in the U.S. Kind of a cure to the gas crisis because there was gas shortages and pricing, kind of similar to what we're dealing with right now, where these gas prices are getting ridiculous. And yeah, man, the documentary goes into it. It kind of leans towards it being a cover up and kind of negligence on the company that owned the nuclear plants and a lot of the commission people, the inspectors, stuff like that, kind of really putting a bad light into the nuclear industry. And it even goes into detail with one of the whistleblowers that shed light into the entire circumstance that the documentary kind of leans on. And yeah, about how he saw a bunch of documents and stuff that showed that they were just kind of like pushing through
Or
the cleanup.
bypassing like stuff, right?
Right. Yeah, more towards the
Leading
cleanup,
up to the, yeah.
yeah, to the cleanup because the accident happened. And the gist of it is that they had a pressure relief valve that got stuck. So the pressure relief valve got stuck and it got left open. It was letting out all the coolant that's inside the chamber. And by the time the technicians saw the issue, they had shut down the motors to pump more coolant into in there because they weren't aware of this relief valve getting stuck. And so the thing got almost bone dry, if not dry. And a lot of experts theorize that they were within 10 minutes to half an hour from a total meltdown to where it would have been a disaster and the whole East Coast would have been uninhabitable for many years. I mean, even
Decades.
possibly, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But it's more the aftermath that the documentary kind of goes into. Some of it as it was actually happened with a lot of the people that were in the neighbors around the plant, and how they were getting misinformation. Kind of telling them, "Hey, duck under your desk, you'll be safe," kind of stuff.
The radiation go right over
The,
you.
yeah, it'll just go over you, kind of stuff. Kind of like those 60 movies. Yeah, just duck under
The
your desk.
PSA stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it really uh, kind of makes you feel like big corporations are really nefarious and they're into bad shit. But yeah, it was a pretty good
So
documentary.
let me ask you this: knowing Chernobyl, because you watched the miniseries, right? Or was it Noel?
Right. Yeah. No, I watched that one too.
And
The
then
recent one that they
this.
did. Right.
All I know is I wouldn't want to live next to a nuclear power plant, but knowing that this happened back in the day, and now what we know, I mean, nuclear. After this, a lot of the industry kind of changed. they put a lot of regulation, and I mean it is, I mean, somewhat safe. I mean, that what I've read so far. Would you choose to live to that, or would you be scared if they have like a meltdown with your family there?
Now, I think where you live, um, obviously you try to live in the best place that you can, but sometimes living in a shitty neighborhood necessitates that you don't have the income to live in a better neighborhood. And I think in the same way, it would be that circumstance for to live next to a power plant, any kind of power plant. If I just didn't have the means to have my own home and it was difficult for me with my income or whatever the case would be, I might have to weigh the pros and cons to paying 40,000 for a new house next to a power plant or paying 300,000 to live somewhere else far away from the nuclear plant. Like those kind of circumstances. I don't think I would do it personally, because I know nuclear energy is dangerous, even though, like you said, there's a lot of regulations. But if you watch this movie, they'll show you how they bypassed a lot of that, how they
So
how they greased the right pockets to be
so
able to get the stuff going.
where we live, I think our energy is nuclear. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know that. I know it's south, way south of here. The people we get our energy from. So let me ask you that: would you be one of those guys that would put solar panels on the roof?
I am interested in that technology.
Really?
I
And the
don't
solar
think it's
panels.
right. I don't think it's progressed far enough to be the only option. But Alana actually brought it up not too long ago. We're putting in new windows into the house and whatnot. And she said, hey, would you consider solar panels? Because we've been getting in like flyers. Now that you're a homeowner, you're getting all this crap all the time. Hey, get this, get that. And one came in for solar panels, and I told her I would be interested in, but I think it would be after we replaced this roof. The roof was estimated to have another good, yeah, I don't know, 5 years into it, where we probably wouldn't have to worry about too much. So I think in my next replacement of the roof, I would contemplate getting solar panels at that time. For me to put panels up now and then replace the roof in 5 years, I'd have to take all that shit off and then have to get it reinstalled. So I don't think it's feasible at this point, but I would be interested in it for sure.
I wouldn't, man. There's a lot of shit you gotta do.
Yeah,
I mean, what
yeah, you
I
got to.
know of it, I mean, with the batteries and shit. And I think they only, I don't know. I wouldn't. I would rather do. I mean, I don't know what the other option would be. So wind, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I get it. Nuclear is dangerous. It's bad, but I mean, it is very affordable and it produces a lot of energy for a lot millions of homes here. So I mean that's something you're gonna have to debate, but I mean it's pretty reliable. That's all I could say about that. I mean it's super reliable, but yeah, it's just the nuclear waste and all that. It's a big fucking problem. But hey, man, you're keeping houses warm and lights on. I mean, and it's somewhat affordable. I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for with nuclear.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's. I don't think solar is in the place. Kind of like electrical cars, they're kind of starting to go over that hump where they're more feasible. But if you got one of the first electrical cars that came out in the United States, I don't think they hold up very well, and the technology was still kind of
Well,
new.
not to get too political. I read a quote yesterday from the leader of the free world, our president, saying that gas prices are high, so just buy an electric vehicle.
Oh, just
That,
like
that
that? Oh,
just like that. And I think the
hmm.
average electrical car is like 55,000. So
Oh, no
yeah,
problem, man.
just like that, man.
Yeah,
That's how we solve this gas price hike. Can buy an electrical car.
you know who said a similar statement and ended up having one of their worst years was Sony when PlayStation 3 came out, and the CEO, whoever it was at the time, he priced it at $600, while other consoles at that time were going for $300.
Yeah,
And when people were questioning him and be like, "Hey, this is kind of high, don't you think? And he's just like, no, people love this so much that they'll get two jobs to get it. And I think people ended up finding out that no, people who want something relatively inexpensive, they have loyalties, obviously. Like there's a lot of people that love Ford trucks and love gas, diesel, whatever. But I'm sure if the pricing gets bad, they'll jump ship to something more affordable, maybe a Japanese car or something. But not everybody can have those luxuries, as Mr. Biden suggests. So
Hey,
we'll,
that's
we'll see.
President Biden. Come on, Danny.
Oh, that's right, Mr. President.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
yeah, like I said, like I said, I don't want to get it political, but yeah. But no, man, that's yeah. For the record, I'm not gonna live next to a power plant or nuclear power plant.
no, no problem, man. I didn't know that our power was nuclear, but hey, shit, whatever keeps the bills close, low. I don't care, man.
Yeah, it's. I think ComEd. I think it's down south. I do a little bit of research. I mean, where else? We ain't running coal plants here. I know that, and we ain't got no dams. We got no water. It's. I'm like 90% sure we have a nuclear power plant that runs about a big chunk of the energy here for Illinois.
Cool, man. Cool. A few other things, Andy, that I was up to this week. I watched that Jackass Forever, the last one
Oh,
that
how
came
was
out.
it?
You haven't seen it, I guess.
I started watching it, and I just, I guess I'm old. And I'm like, I'm not feeling this shit. I think I watched like 10 minutes or 15 minutes of it, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this.
Let me guess, man. Uh, Too many dicks in the movie for you, man.
Yeah, it was weird. If I remember correctly, there was a lot of dicks, and then like the running scene in the beginning, right, or
Right.
something. It was like weird there, and I'm just like, I'm not liking this. Like, I don't know. I just got old.
Man, I think it's a running thing with a lot of the Jackass movies. It's like, all right, we're rated R. What do you guys want to do that MTV didn't let us? And the first thing these guys think of, let's show our dicks. And
Yeah,
it's like every movie, Jackass movie is almost like this. And this one, and where other movies had it in there for, let's say it's a 2 hour movie, they had it on there for 10 minutes. This movie, about half of it is dicks. And to me, I was close to just turning it off. But I'm like, it's the last one. I heard Johnny Knoxville got hurt in it.
yeah, yeah.
So
He got seriously hurt. Yeah.
so I wanted to watch, even seriously, where like he might have brain damage and have difficulty, like he had trouble like speaking and stuff like that. Like it was pretty bad.
Well, he's
So
old, dude. He's almost 60.
right, so I wanted to watch it, and so I watched it to the end, and then obviously the one that he got hurt on was towards the end of the movie. But yeah, man, I didn't care for it too much, even though who doesn't like some goofy trickery and accidents and people acting a goof? But it was a little much, man. It was a little much. I didn't care for it as much as maybe some of the previous
Yeah,
Jackass
like the
movies.
first one was pretty funny. I mean, I was younger, and like even I'll watch clips of it on YouTube once in a while. The second one, I kind of remember. The other one, I don't remember much. The 3D one, I think they did a 3D one, right? And then I'm like, this is weird. And then like it ran its course, and then when I saw they were doing this, and I'm just like okay, it might be funny, but they're all old, and like the whole I don't know. You remember Bam Margera? He had an issue
Right.
with substance abuse. They kind of
They cut him out of this one.
they cut him. They lied to him. He took him to court, and I mean allegedly they told him he needed to sober up. He went to like rehab, and then they're like something happened. They're like, you're not part of the movie. I don't know. It was like strange, and like there's all these YouTube videos about it, and he's suing because I think Johnny Knoxville was like an executive producer or something. It got like very weird, and they were talking about like how they fucked him over out of money and they forced him into rehab, and it was just strange. And Like that's when you know like you're old because you're people are fighting over money over something you did when you were young. And to me, like, are they just trying to get like a last payday before they're finally done?
That's the way it sounded for Bam. I did see a little bit of like behind the scenes documentary that they put up for the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and allegedly they're saying that because of the previous Jackass movies and Bam's drug abuse, that for this movie, for a lot of the participants, they're like, Bam's got to be clean. Otherwise, I don't want to be a part of this thing. And so, in order to get the group together, that was part of the deal, is that Bam needed to be clean, and they had worked it out in his contract when he signed
Yeah.
to get the MTV money, was that you needed to be clean, you needed to take like daily piss tests and XYZ. Like there was a bunch of like rules that he needed to do, and he signed it. And then I guess he did go for like filming for like the first day or two or whatever, but then something happened and they're
Yeah, I
like,
think he
dude, you're
said
out of it.
the medicine made him test positive or something because nobody said that he was like visibly like on anything from my understanding. And then he was saying that the medicine he was on made him test positive for whatever the hell they were searching
Right,
for. And
right.
then like all this hell broke loose. And I think Steve-O, I mean, he has a great podcast and YouTube show where he's like in a van. I don't know if you've seen of it. He kind of went into details how he feels bad for Bam and he thinks he kind of got screwed over. And uh, he goes in length with the big guy and somebody else about it, and some of the guys are on Bam's side, which was kind of shocking. So I don't know. It was just I like I said, I started watching it, like you said, Dan. It was just there's a lot of dick in here, and like that's not my thing. So I'm done.
Understandable, Andy. I could see how this isn't a lot of people's taste. And I think unless there's something ridiculous where like somebody gets impaled in the next one, I think I'm done with Jackass. Especially if they're going to be more of this, if this style movie. To me, I don't need any more of that. I'm done.
Like I'll watch some of the old clips on YouTube and stuff like that. Like there's a couple that make me laugh my ass off and shit. But yeah, this new one, I just like I'm glad they got it, they made it, and hopefully they got paid. But it was just like, yeah, I don't know, waste another hour of me watching this. Like, I'd rather watch clips here and there of it, and because they brought in some new people, and it was just
Right.
I wasn't feeling it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was the same slapstick stuff, but a lot more penises than I care to see. So, um, last one for me, man.
Like, there's this show like I'm debating to watch. It's on FX. It's called Dave. It's about this rapper
Right. I've heard about that.
and his name is Little Dicky, and he made this song about him going to jail. So the quick version of it, he's talking about he's doing a concert and he's rapping about how everybody loves the show, and then he goes, "You guys want to see my dick?" And then the crowd's like, show your dick." But he's like, "I can't show my dick. I'm gonna get in trouble." So he's like, "I'm gonna show my balls," and he shows his balls, and then the crowd goes wild, and then he goes back and he gets arrested by the cops because he showed his balls. So he goes to court, and there's like 45 children there saying that they saw his ball and they were traumatized. So they sent him to jail for 2 years.
Wow.
So when he goes to jail, there's all these dudes just like talking about how they're gonna fuck him. Like this is all a rap song, dude. And then he explained what happened to him, how he got in jail. Like, dude, you're a pedophile. He's like, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not one of those guys. He's like, it's a joke. So the whole premise is like, dude, don't tell the story because they're gonna definitely rape you. And then one of the Mexican guys, one of the cholos, is like, oh, you're the kitty guy. He goes, I'm gonna fucking rape you. And then he's like, he's trying to think how to get out of it. And then he's like, hey man, he's like, it's cool, bro. I'm into this shit. Like, I'm gonna suck your dick. And then the whole rap song. And then the you hear somebody in the background, stop. He's showing this. He's presenting the song to the record executives, and they're like, "You want this to be your single?" And he goes, "Yeah. Don't interrupt me no more. Let's finish the song, and then after that, I can have questions." And he goes, so then the next scene there, you see him about to go down on him, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this is on FX. And then uh he very graphically talks about what he's doing to him, and then he's like, I bite his dick off. And then you see him spit his dick, the top of his dick, through the air, and the record executive goes, we're not gonna release this. He goes, dude, be respectful. I got like another 6 minutes of this song. And then that's when the clip ends. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And this is on network TV on cable. And I'm like, this is insane.
I know of Dave passingly because I know he's like in Xbox commercials,
Uh-huh.
and he's in some like Uber Eats commercials or something. But I've heard of him, but I've never seen any of
Yeah, it's
his
called
work.
Little Dicky Jail. And I'm just like, what the and the beat's pretty cool. And then I'm hearing it, and then I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And like they showed this on FX. And I'm just like, damn, this is pretty like graphic for even for cable. But I don't know, man. It was just interesting, you know. And I like now I'm like tempted to watch the show.
Nah, no thanks, man. Like I told you, I've seen enough dicks. I don't want to see anymore. I'm done with that for now. But maybe a place that you could see more dicks, but I have no idea, is Netflix, which goes into our article of the week. So, Andy, our article for this week is Netflix, man. The company itself, it's from Business Insider, which you kind of gave me a forewarning to maybe this isn't the most best website to use, but nonetheless, Netflix tells their employees that they can quit if they don't like working on the content or they don't agree with it. So it's the new company culture guidelines that have been placed for all the employees. And basically, the article goes into it, but the basic gist is if you don't like it, you can quit. Um,
You need a
the
dick.
literally or figuratively, however you see it. But yeah, it's kind of saying Netflix, or at least the stance that they're taking. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, and the article kind of mentions it too, about Dave Chappelle. He was making some like trans homophobic jokes or something like that. And there was a lot of people up in arms, and they're like, you got to ban this. You can't show it. But Netflix took the stance of, A, it's art. You might not agree with it. If you don't agree with it, don't watch it. And we won't have this artist on there anymore if he doesn't create views and clicks and whatnot. Um, but yeah, they did release the whatever the comedy show special, whatever it was, and they're kind of taking a similar stance with, which I like. I like that they're open platform to show whatever you want. You watch what you agree with, you downvote what you don't like, and then they'll create more content like that. Um, so yeah, you could read the article. It kind of goes more into detail as far as some of the things. A lot of people kind of see this Netflix kind of downturn a little bit is to being that there's not enough diversity in there with different opinions. And I know, like Elon Musk in the article, he blames a lot of this woke culture to the reason why people don't watch Netflix. So, Andy, you read the article. What do you think what Netflix stands on
Well,
this policy now?
I mean, is like you read it in general, yeah, it makes sense. But realistically, what's going on is the last couple of years they've been listening to this woke stuff. With they had some movies and some content where they're basically bashing a lot of their viewers, and there was all guidance on this the diversity and equality, and I think people just kind of sick of it. And then this first quarter, we got a little bit, they lost money, their stock dropped, they lost subscribers and they're predicting more loss. On top of it, they have more competition. And I think they kind of realize like they're gonna lose a ton of money. They're losing subscribers for the first time in over a decade. And I think they're recognizing that we can't continue to do what we're doing because we're losing subscribers and it's going to cost us money, and we got to explain to the workers like the article kind of is like we understand that not everybody has the same views, and you can't just be you got to work to with some of these things that not going to have the same views as you. And if you don't like it, then maybe I think the quote says Netflix is not the place for you. And I think with that being said, to me, this is more of they're trying to just pump the brakes. They got to stop the bleeding because they're already canceled a ton of shows. They spent a lot of money and trying to produce some new shows that now are not going to even see the light of day. And they're just trying to stop the bleeding and trying to do 180 on this because I mean, I really don't watch Netflix no more. I watch Hulu and Amazon Prime. Even their new content is some of it. I'm just like, and the last one I kind of got into was the one with the video game one, The Witcher or whatever.
Right.
That one was all right, but it wasn't like great. And that was like the last real Netflix. I watched Stranger Things early on, then I stopped. Um, so like I said, I'm not. There's something like, oh shit, Netflix dropped something like I got it. Let's like binge watch this whole shit, and like I haven't done that in a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, I watch not Netflix periodically. I rewatched the entire Seinfeld seasons because they just picked up Seinfeld like a year ago or so, and so I started rewatching the entire season. I watched the Witcher. I watch here and there passing movies. I mean, even my thing for today, I watched um, that Meltdown documentary that they had, and I like watching their documentaries. I think their documentaries are good. The cold case files and stuff like that. I really dig all that stuff. So I really watch Netflix. Now I do know that they have a lot of what people would label as woke content, and it doesn't bother me to see stuff like that on there. I just don't watch it because that stuff's not for me, or I don't care for it. I noticed that a lot too on Hulu. I remember maybe it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was watching something on TV, and now at this point, Junior is like 10 or something, and it was going into really like homosexual themes in the commercials in between what I was watching because what I was watching wasn't about that. It was like Star Trek or something. I don't remember what the show was about, and they had these commercials in between because I don't pay the extra to not have commercials. And I was thinking, I was like, man, I I don't care what your lifestyle's like, whatever you're into, as long as you're not hurting people, I don't care. But I didn't I don't want this stuff to be in front of Junior kind of thing. And it was difficult to have these interludes in there, especially if it's not following the theme of the show that I'm watching. So I don't know what gave Netflix the idea that I might want to watch this commercial. I might be interested in it,
I mean Hulu.
or Hulu, I'm sorry. But I think stuff like that needs to be a little more sensitive. You need to be a little more uh, careful about the content that you're putting out there. Not that there's anything wrong with that if people are into it, and if I'm watching, something that has that theme in it, then push me towards that. If you see that I'm watching a lot of shows about selling auctions and stuff like that, then show me commercials that are into those themes to try to get me onto another show that's about that. I guess what I'm getting to is that I don't mind content being on the networks. To me, it should be all types for all different people. And if you don't like it, you don't watch it, kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the problem is some of the content was like borderline, according to some people. There's discussions about it on many YouTube channels and podcasts. Like, I don't want to get into the details of it because um, there, I think it's just, I didn't even watch it. I just know people were upset about that movie Cuties, and people were upset about that. And I'm not gonna watch it. I mean, but is there, and there's other stuff that, yes, is there an audience for that? Yeah, but that's I think the average person has made a decision of like, I'm not, there's nothing here for me because they're not catering to what my values are. So they didn't go out and protest or say this. They're just like, they made it clear with their canceling of the subscription with their wallet, and I think they finally took notice, and now they're noting all that other programming now is affecting the bottom line because they're losing subscribers, and everybody else is gaining subscribers. And Netflix was first; they were the biggest. They were spending money. They were putting stuff on there, and now to this day, there's still issues what they officially constitute what a show is popular and how they watch it. There's been debate about that too. They keep changing the metrics to say like the most watched show or movie or whatever. There's still debate about that, but now it's moving towards content like the thing with Dave Chappelle. People are still upset about that. Down to Joe Rogan going to Spotify. People wanted to cancel him, and then we all know about Alex Jones. He got deplatformed all across the board, and there's a lot of other people, and it's just I think people made the decision for them, and by with their canceling of the subscriptions, and I think they're finally noticing that without that money come, I mean, with any business, I mean, they're going to be struggling, and now they really need to tighten their belt, and they're blaming this along with a bunch of other stuff, like they're blaming the war in Ukraine. I don't know how that impacts their business, but they're blaming that, and then the also thing that they're blaming is people sharing the password, so they're going to start clamping down on that too, and you know, it just Netflix, they were the king, and now the fall is coming. They're falling pretty hard, and they're just trying to control how hard they're gonna land because they are losing a ton of money. Their stock dropped big time. I mean, there was like billions of dollars lost,
Wow.
and people were fucking shocked. And they're predicting they're gonna lose more subscribers the second quarter and the third quarter. Like, I mean, they're talking about millions and millions of subscribers lost. So it's interesting to see how they're going to control this.
Well, they just had a price increase as
And they had a
well,
price increase too.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, they just had a price increase on their subscriptions. Uh, to me, I think what Netflix is trying to do, at least what this article is alluding to, I think it's good to have an open platform to kind of allow different things. Now, like you mentioned, that cutie things, a lot of people don't agree with that. I don't agree with that show. Um, but to have it on there, it should be an expression for somebody to show the shows that they want, and people will watch it who want to support it, and people who don't like it will ignore it, and that'll drive Netflix to make more shows or kind of tailor more towards what people are watching. I think we need to kind of be acceptance of a lot of different views, even though it might be difficult to see it or kind of see it there in the background. I'm not a neo-Nazi kind of person or stuff like that, but if you had a documentary about it or if you had a show about it, I wouldn't be upset because at the same time you're showing that, you could show a Jesus documentary where there's Christians trying to show love and acceptance of all people, and it should also have a similar platform and a place for them to put their information, and then let the viewers decide what they want to watch. So I think being open to different points of views is not a bad thing. It's difficult. It's definitely difficult to watch for people that are more sensitive to seeing things that they don't agree with. But I think as a society, we need to be more acceptant of not everybody's going to
Not
think the way we do, and
you.
be able to see it.
I think what not accepting is just you just got to learn to coexist with people who don't have
Right,
the
right.
same values as you in like discussion and dialogue. As long as it doesn't get nasty, that can be had, especially if you're an adult. Like this whole thing, I'm not talking to you and you're a fucking racist, and like that's it, it's over. And like I'm not saying you gotta understand, it's just you're gonna agree to disagree, and that's a big part of it. Obviously I know people that don't have the same views that I do, which is fine. And I hear their point of view, they hear mine, and we're not gonna be there fucking talking about. I'm not gonna try to change his mind. I'm just explaining what I believe, and that's where you leave it. And I'm not gonna be there fucking cursing them out or fucking calling them names. And like I just know, hey man, that's what they believe. I'm not cool with that, but hey, it's America. You want to do that shit, do it. And like especially when it comes to religion. Um, I know there's other views on religion, obviously, but I might not agree with them. But it is America. You have freedom of religion, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I mentioned, I was running a little late today. I was just getting out of church, and the pastor in his message, he mentioned something where he stepped away from the church for many years when he was a younger man, because he ran across some Christians or some church goers that were very judgmental of him, and kind of cast a negative light on him, and really judged him hard. And he said that that kind of pushed him away from the
Sound like
church.
Catholics.
Almost. That's a joke, Andy, man. Come on.
Oh, I know, man. I judge hard, man.
But he kind of mentioned how having people see him in a negative light, it pushed him away. And it wasn't until he met some people later on in college that were also churchgoer Christians, and were welcoming and acceptance of his issues, his faults, and accepted him anyways, and showed him love, to the point where it brought him back. And I think having a more open thought with different people, that not everybody's going to think the way you are, not everybody's going to dress the way you are, not everybody's going to be exactly like you are. We just need to be more open and acceptant that people are different. And maybe acceptance, not the right word, Andy. I know you mentioned it, but we just need to be more loving towards each other, and leave it open to that.
And that's one of the things that's great about America. I mean, you get to see one of the things that brings this country together before we get out of here is food, right? You try so many different foods from um, from all different worlds here, because a lot of people came here, they immigrated here, and you might not have the same beliefs, but I mean, you could talk, you'll try their food, and like I said, just you can have a dialogue. You don't gotta like you don't have to be like, well, this motherfucker's wrong. Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, that whatever, you might not agree with it, but what the hell are you gonna do as a person? So you just gotta be, just gotta learn to coexist. And if you don't want to deal with that person, don't deal with them and move forward, man. And just you gotta learn to live together, because not everybody's the same. So especially in this country now more than ever, we're super different, and we have a lot of cultures here, a lot of religions, and like we made fun of it. Like I'm not down with people that are like in the forest, um, banging trees or whatever the fuck, or people into stones. It's weird to me, but hey, man, they want to do it. That's their doing. But I won't have no part of it. I hear what they believe. This stone does this and this. Whatever, man. Good luck to you. Hope it works out for you. But I'm not down with that crap. But With that being said, we got to get out of here. We want to thank you for listening. Remember, you can follow Freeform Network on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Also, send your questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. That's ffnquestions@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about this Netflix. How many of you guys have a shared password? Or I don't know when. I haven't paid for Netflix in over 5 years, man. So,
so you're the problem.
I do have a shared password from somebody in the family. But let us know what you guys have. If you guys are gonna stop subscribing in the near future, you have. Let us know why and what were your thoughts on that. And don't you forget to check out our webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There are all our episodes, the oldies and goodies, and the current ones, and you can listen to them there. And then we're on many platforms: iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Spreaker, iHeart. I think somebody sent us a picture. They were listening on iHeart, which brought a smile to my face because I can't keep up with it no more. I think we're on Spotify. We're on all sorts of platforms. Whatever you do, listen, like, share, subscribe. Let us know. That helps us out a lot in whatever platform you're listening to. Again, Freeform Radio, we got Danny.
Yes, sir. People, go out there and love somebody, man.
And it's all good, Andy. We want to thank you for listening, and we'll check you guys out next time. And you guys be nice to everybody. You'll be better off in the long run. Have a good week.
That was cool, Dad.